All right. Let's get set up. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's time for the J-Mac show. No, it's not called that. It's just Jeremy McDonald here, one of your very favorite people with Parkinson's. Here with a question for you. How do you cuddle a Parkie? Answer, very carefully. Very carefully. Here's why. You might get an elbow to the groin or to the ribs. You might get a hand to the face. It's all involuntary. And this is something I've been thinking about lately a lot. Because a recent situation came up where I had my young nephew over who's 3, Seth, he's adorable. And he said, "Uncle Jeremy, can I sit by you?" And I was like initially hesitant because I'm like, am I gonna hit the kid on accident? Am I gonna like squirm and knock him out of his chair or knock him flying? It didn't happen, but it's just those weird little things that you don't think about if you don't have Parkinson's. Snuggling or cuddling with anybody, giving a little kid a hug, hugging your grandma, your mom, your in-laws, your best friend. It's all these things that people take for granted. I know I sure did. There's 2 Jeremys that you could possibly snuggle or cuddle. Slow, shaky Jeremy, who is shaky, but he's not going to elbow you in any particular area of your body, which is good. And then there's fast Jeremy or on Jeremy, which is wiggly Jeremy. Now, wiggly Jeremy has moments where he can sit and put his arm around you, give you a hug, but it's a lot more difficult because it's not natural. Now, slow, shaky Jeremy, don't expect a lot of reciprocation. Like my wife will. This is a little sweet thing my wife does. When I wake up, she can kind of feel me shaking in the morning. My right arm shakes. So she'll roll over and put her arm around me. Oh, that's where you guys go, oh. And it's very sweet. Now, I have trouble rolling over most of the time, but occasionally I can roll over, and I'll put my shaky hand around her, and she's just glad to have it there. Now, wiggly Jeremys, you got to be a lot more careful. And just like with my little nephew Seth sitting next to me on the chair, there's just a whole nother level to this with Parkinson's. Like I've become a big hugger. If I know you well, I'm going to give you a hug. Guy, lady, don't matter. I love hugs. And I think part of it is the fact that there's a limited sense of I guess touch because of the shaking or the immobility or the dyskinesia, the wiggly movements. And this kind of puts a wall up between me and people. Now, if I'm standing up and I see you or you're leaving, you're getting a hug. Granted, if I don't know you that well, I'll ask, especially with the ladies. Don't just go grabbing ladies, guys. Parkinson's is not an excuse. Yeah, can't get away with that one. But I'm a hugger, and so if I'm able to stand up and really connect with somebody, I want to give them a hug. I hug all my friends, and that's something that I think has come with getting older. When you realize, like I think back to my friend Adam, my best friend Adam, who passed away 7 years ago. 7 years ago? Yeah, 7 years ago. And I wish I would have hugged him more. Now we did hug, and he knew I loved him, but he was my friend for over 30 years, and I think losing people makes you want to connect more. And so if I know you and we're friends and I'm able to stand, I'm going to give you a hug. Now, if I can't stand, you're more than welcome to come and hug me. I mean, it was me and my wife go grocery shopping every week together, or most weeks. And there's this guy, Carl, at the checkout. He's an older guy. And he's a hugger. Which is, you don't normally hug the guy that brings out your groceries, but we've been going there so long. My wife will give him a hug. I gave him a hug, shook his hand. He's an older guy. He's like in his 80s. I mean, God forbid, but he might not be there the next time we go. I mean, I hope he is. He's been there for years, but eventually he's not going to be. And eventually our friends are not going to be there. So while you have a chance, hug them. And I know this isn't directly Parkinson's related. It's just kind of my little 2 cents worth on love and affection. But love the people around you, man. Love them. Let them know. And even if you're wiggly or dyskinetic or too slow or shaky, don't be afraid to reach out and shake somebody's hand. And for those of you who do not have Parkinson's, if I'm wiggly or your friend that you know is like having dyskinesia, which means uncontrollable movements, they probably don't want to be touched. You have to ask them. But when they calm down, don't be afraid to come up and put your arm around them, shake their hand, give them a hug. We need it. We need human connection, especially with this disease that makes moving so difficult. It can be isolating on so many levels, not the least of which the physical intimacy that you can have with your wife or your partner, or just a good friendly hug. All right, well, this is probably the last good day in St. Louis for a while. We got some 0-degree weather coming in. I know my friends from the North Canada, you guys are used to all this, but we are not. Well, at least I'm not. I worked in a freezer for years. I don't like the cold because it means snow, and I hate shoveling snow. It's gotten harder. But my son is 11, and I'm going to put him to work. I'm going to crack the whip on that little bastard. All right, that's all I got. I love him. I do love him. That's all I got. So from my beautiful deck for the temporarily nice city of St. Louis, peace and love.